An email that's been sent in to us. It's from Jason from New South Wales, and he writes, "Are the days of the 0% down home loan now gone?" Warren, or Will?
That's probably a me one. Look, I think that the days of 0% home loans are definitely not gone. I think potentially the days of you used to be able to get loans and you'd actually you could borrow 105% of the value of the property. I think that's going to be very, very more unlikely nowadays. But there is a lot of loans and actually increasing number of loans from different lenders that don't require to actually put a deposit in. When you do buy a property, you've still got other costs to consider. So when it's 0%, it's not a you're not actually just putting completely nothing in. You do have to pay, in some cases, stamp duty if you're not a first home buyer, and also pay for your solicitor and for other costs as well.
Is it wise,
mortgage insurance.
do you think, take your mortgage hat off, and is it wise to have a zero deposit?
This is where people get confused. There's two things that lenders are looking for, and two things that you need to be concerned about as a purchaser. One is that you do have some equity. But if you don't have the equity, the big one, and this is where people get themselves into trouble. People don't get into trouble by not having a deposit. People get into trouble by not being able to repay the loan, because once you're into the property will eventually, it might take 2 years, might take 10 years, go up in value. As long as you can afford to hold that property and afford to continue to service the mortgage easily, I don't see there's a big problem with a 0% deposit, and that is with my mortgage hat off.
But I suppose a healthy deposit, is indicative of somebody who saves and who's somebody who could potentially make those mortgage repayments. Without that,
that's a very good point. And if but sometimes let's take a young couple who've just come back from overseas. They're both professionals. They've only just hit back in Australia, and they've been saving. They've put together $2 or $3 grand pretty quickly, and they've just gotten new jobs. Then I think that's the kind of circumstance where maybe for those particular people, they'd be better off getting in now, being part of the growth in the market, rather than waiting to save up a 20% deposit in over 2 or 3 years and then sort of missing that growth over that period of time. It's very individual, and people who are risk averse are probably go for it, save up a deposit. Myself, I'd probably be getting in there a bit earlier.